Maverick Approach here, back with another one. We got the one and only Devon True. He is here. Yes,
sir. Yes,
What's
sir.
good? You was in Thailand, huh?
I was in Thailand. Yeah. I was out there for a little bit. 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah, locked in.
So what was you doing out there?
Man, you know what? I originally went out there because, Maverick here was he was speaking at a conference.
Well, I was supposed to.
And he ended
up
dropping out.
No. So I was supposed to go, and what happened was going to go to the conference didn't happen. Had some business here. I remember that, right? And then you just went on. I know you just stayed out there for a little bit, and
I went for a week. Ended up going viral out there.
Right.
And start working with all the artists out there, and just meeting any and everybody in Thailand. And
right.
They were all, it was all love out there, and I ended up staying out there and just shooting content.
Right. So so now you have the whole entire country on lock, because I remember seeing, since you went out there, you had a lot of viral moments, and then from there, I noticed that people were, like doing the same kind of content. They said they were, we'll talk about that for a minute, but then they also made that destination, Thailand, the #1 destination for travelers last year.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes.
So you had it, kind of lit out there,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, no, I definitely did. And then...
you doing music out there and too, stuff, right?
Yeah, doing music out there. And then I had, celebs here was posting my content. 2 Chainz started posting my stuff. And, it was just going crazy. It was going crazy.
No, it was dope. But speaking of music, I saw something on, like, TikTok and X. Now, there's a parody account called Daily Nowd, like Daily Loud, but Nowd.
Okay.
And they said, because I want to get your thoughts on this because you're in music, they said Sexy Red might be a CIA agent. And here's the thing. I think that's true. Now, they're saying it was a parody, and it was like, they were just joking and all that shit. But, like, here's the thing. For her music to be as popular as it is, and people are resonating with it, I feel like it's some type of CIA operation. You already know how I go down the rabbit hole with CIA operations, and it's conspiracy theory until it's not, right?
Until it's not. I mean, the whole COVID thing was a conspiracy theory at first, and now, look at it.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I always say this. The difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is 6 to 8 months. It used to be 6 to 12 months. Now it's 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months. We're going to boost that up.
Yeah, we'll boost it up. So her being a CIA agent, it was like, haha, very funny and everything else. But now it's like, it's almost like on some, have you seen the movie They Clone Tyrone?
Of course.
It's kind of like that.
For sure.
And I feel like these operations that get declassified fall right into, what the movies depict. Because here's the thing, the DOD, they have a entertainment media fund. Mm-hmm. Which they work closely with Hollywood and everything else, and scriptwriters, directors, and everything else. So this is why I always watch movies.
I always watch the movies.
But I don't know how her music is popular. I don't know how she got this far. She has a whole makeup line named after STDs.
She has a makeup line named after STDs.
Yeah, like Discharge, eyeshadow, some shit.
Be fucking for real, bro.
No, for real. Like, and this is the thing. It's like,
shit is disgusting.
How is this real? So in the movie They Clone Tyrone, they were putting stuff in the chicken, in the music. Remember they went to the club, everybody was in a trance.
Yep.
It was kind of a remake of, remember the movie, what was that movie? Undercover Brother.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So same thing.
Classic. Shout out Eddie Griffin.
Eddie Griffin. Yeah, he actually posted me. Shout out to Eddie Griffin. Appreciate you. But it reminded me of that. Mm-hmm. So with Undercover Brother, they were putting stuff in the chicken, same thing, in the music.
Mm-hmm. That's why I don't eat chicken now.
Okay, so why don't you eat chicken?
Chicken is the only animal to cause mucus and acid at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. And I cut it over 2 years ago, and it's the best decision.
It's been like 3 years, right?
Has it been 3?
I think it's been 3 years.
I cut chicken 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm thinking clearly. I don't feel sluggish.
Right.
Best decision I ever made.
No, and that's the thing, like, and I feel like black people are like genetically predisposed to chicken.
Yeah.
I really feel like that. I feel like it's some type of Operation PSYOP to where it's like, why do black people like chicken so much? And it's like, what did they put in the chicken? Because here's the thing. Chickens now, they literally can grow a full-grown chicken in 3 weeks.
I believe it because when I went to Thailand, I saw a real chicken and didn't know what the fuck it was.
Because it looks different, right?
It was
Right.
like fucking this big.
Right.
And I've been seeing these fucking giant ass chickens all this time. And
Right.
I'm like, dude, what are we eating?
And that's what I mean. So like the chickens over there, they look scraggly and kind of like
Yeah.
more lean, right?
Yeah, for sure. They look like they're a little bit more fit.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So over here, they have chickens that are like super fat, and they can make a whole grown chicken in 3 weeks. So that's another thing too. And they don't have to disclose what's lab made, what's not.
Right.
So when you're like out in the restaurants, you don't know if it's lab, if it's regular,
Facts.
raised, naturally.
Trader Joe's has a lot of that bullshit too, by the way.
Trader Joe's is a fake healthy place.
Facts.
They actually have these like frozen. I've seen it on TikTok actually.
Mm-hmm.
They have these frozen TV dinners and like these burgers that like are really like they don't biodegrade at all.
Yeah.
And like a lot of other foods that's the thing. Like Trader Joe's, they actually have their own in-house manufacturer. So that's another
Talk
thing.
about it because you notice the shit you find at Trader Joe's, you can't find at Whole Foods. You can't find at Sprouts.
Right.
There's a reason for that.
Right. So being that they have their own in-house, they can kind of control their own, like what they put in it, what they take out, like how much ingredients and all that stuff. So,
Created their own ecosystem.
Their own ecosystem. So that's the thing. So when it comes to food and everything else, I mean, I know you're, super health freak.
For sure.
You work out every 30 minutes.
For sure. I might break out and do some fucking push-ups. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
like I might randomly just do fucking 100 push-ups right
No,
now.
that's what I'm saying. So, like, how do you feel about, like, what's going on in the food industry? Like, do you think that it's going to get so far to where we're not eating, like, because even in China, like, they don't even have real food. They have, like, synthetic eggs.
Yeah.
And they pretty much just make fake everything.
For sure.
And they don't even, like, I've seen eggs to where it's not even coming from a chicken. Like, it's all made up. They have these.
What you mean, like?
Like, it's made up. Like, it's really synthetic. Like, they cook it in a lab, and it's like eggs.
What the fuck?
So that's what I'm saying. So, like, are we going to get so far down the road to where we're not even eating real food, which I don't think we are at this point.
I mean, that's why Bill Gates is trying to convince us to eat bugs.
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
I
So,
mean-
Aldi, the grocery store Aldi.
Oh, those are popping up everywhere, too.
Well, here's the thing. So Aldi, they made the claim in the UK saying that it's healthier to eat bugs because it has more protein and it's cheaper for families.
Sick bastards, bro.
In Agenda 2030, this is what the agenda everybody should be watching out.
Not 25.
No, not 25, the boogeyman bullshit, no. Everybody needs to watch out for Agenda 2030 because it's a one world government to where the rich want us to eat bugs, where they have these plans, the World Economic Forum, which is a non-government body to where all the elites go to and have their meetings in Davos. This is what's happening. It's happening like, the plan right now, like we're only 5 years out. So they want us to eat bugs. They're going to live in the sky. All the poor people on the ground. What does that sound like?
Jetsons and the fucking Flintstones.
Right. I always say the Jetsons and the Flintstones are happening at the same time because those cartoons are made by Hanna-Barbera, both cartoons. So I always tell people that it's happening at the same time. They're not two different time periods because they even have a crossover episode where they're crossing over.
They got a wait, hold on.
They have a crossover episode to where it's one episode and it's Jetsons and Flintstones. But the people on the ground are the Flintstones, the poor people. And the people in the sky are the Jetsons, the rich people.
Crazy.
So, but speaking of China too, did you see what happened with that restaurant, the Chinese restaurant in who got arrested? So let me break it down. So the FBI, ICE just arrested this guy who was running a spot called Yaya Noodles. / Sushi John. Now,
Wait, hold on. He was running 2 restaurants, or I'm confused.
No, so it's one restaurant. So this doesn't make sense, and this is how it all ties in. So this guy who got picked up by ICE, he is a Chinese guy. He's running a spot called Ya Noodles. But what noodle spot, like a ramen spot, also serves, sushi. Like it's a rarity, right? So they it's rare.
Yeah.
So it's usually just a sushi spot or a noodle spot, right?
You don't usually mix those.
So he just got picked up for being a Chinese spy.
Wow.
So here's the thing. Have you ever seen any Chinese restaurant commercials for any Chinese restaurants in America? There's over 45,000 Chinese restaurants in America, and none of them have commercials. And Panda Express doesn't count.
What the fuck?
Right?
No.
So think about it.
Okay.
Could all these Chinese restaurants be fronts?
I mean, they're on a fucking every corner, if you think about it.
Right.
Literally, in almost every major city.
Right.
There's...
They have more locations than McDonald's. They have more locations than Subway.
For sure.
And none of them advertise, ever. I don't even trust that food. I wouldn't even eat that food.
That's why when I call a lot of these places, especially Asian restaurants, I ask, you've been with me when I ask, like, yo, do you guys have MSG in your food? And remember when we were just in, I think it was in Dallas, I called like 10 restaurants. I'm like, yo, do you MSG? And they're like, yeah, we all have MSG in our food. And it's just like, fuck, bro.
So I think we've been infiltrated on a whole different level. And I've been saying this. As far as China, I think that we've been infiltrated on a whole nother level versus like, regular boots on the ground, like a war. They've infiltrated the real estate market. They own over 400,000 acres in America.
Shit.
Okay. They own 45,000 Chinese restaurants in America.
45,000.
45,000. Okay. Then we have all these Chinese hackers getting into our water systems. They're infiltrating the Federal Reserve. They're a former senior advisor to the Federal Reserve. Just got locked up a few months ago for being a Chinese spy. He was a traitor.
Come on, y'all.
A U.S. state official was getting paid in Chinese yuan. He got caught red-handed with Chinese yuan. So all these things are happening. So they're infiltrating our food, our water, everything on a whole different level. It's not just, hey, we're going to come over and invade you.
Yeah, well, they knew that would never work.
Right.
The way to, that'd be the easiest way to get to us.
Right.
Try to dumb us down through our food, honestly.
Even with TikTok. Okay, so TikTok, it's a Chinese app, right?
Yep.
Tell me why their feed in China is completely different than ours.
Right.
So over here, everybody's doing like stupid ass dances and it's a bunch of bullshit, right? But over there, it's completely different. It's all educational. They're learning AI. They're learning all these like, math, and their feed is completely different.
Trump, you need to buy TikTok like now, because at first I kind of was on the fence about it. Like, why the fuck are they so hung up over it? But then I'm thinking about it. Like, I mean, it makes perfect sense.
And that's the thing. Like, realistically, that app is really a piece on the board. It's a way of war. Like even DeepSeek AI. Even everybody when everybody was afraid that TikTok was going to go away, what did they jump to? Red Note.
Damn, that's completely
another Chinese app.
Chinese app all over again.
So that's what I'm saying. So when it comes to information and everything else, they got it all. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I really think that we've been infiltrated on that level. Like, they're playing 5D chess. This is why he's hitting, Trump is hitting, China with tariffs like crazy. I think we're up to like 145 in tariffs right now. So, but now they want to come to the table. They just said the other day they want to come to the table and be like, okay, let's call off all the tariffs because...
Yeah, because y'all don't want the smoke.
They don't. They don't.
Not like we don't benefit, but y'all benefit more.
And here's the thing about the tariffs too, because the tariffs actually expose American companies that are going overseas to get labor, like Nike. Because really, Nike is the culprit. Like, if you really think about it, like, their factories are in like China, Vietnam, and these tariffs really mess up, you know, their merchandise.
Yeah.
So they got to pay these extra, either pass it on to us or eat the costs. So, you know, it's really exposing them to where like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to invest in America? Are you going to open up a factory? Because they're making pennies on the dollar for the longest.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think that we need more American investment too.
Tariffs are great.
Yeah,
Keep the fucking tariffs going.
Here's the thing. I always say the short term is going to be painful, but the long term benefits is going to be amazing. And nobody is trying to hear that.
People don't want to rip the Band-Aid off, and you just need to we need to heal.
Yeah.
We need to heal. Like, we can't, like, we keep this going. Like, our kids, it's going to be the same shit. And then eventually we're just going to fucking die out slowly.
Yeah,
we're going to slowly die out.
We're going to cease to exist. And that's what I'm saying. So, like, it has to be drastic measures for that stuff to happen.
For sure.
Like, even with the music industry, like, how corrupt it is and everything else. And we'll touch on that because there's so much going on in the music industry, and there's levels to it, you know, with government, music. Like, it's all tied in because a lot of the private prisons are tied in with the record labels and everything else.
Of course. That's why it's all this bullshit music is out.
That's what I'm saying. Sexy Red is an agent.
She's a fucking
Sexy
agent.
Red is a CIA agent.
She's an agent, y'all.
There's no way.
She's a fucking agent.
There's no way she's as popular as she is and the type of music she's doing, and that's not some kind of psyop.
The biggest thing that was like, okay, she's definitely an agent, was that random Bruno Mars feature. Bruno Mars.
Right.
You mean to tell me Bruno Mars is going to work with Sexy Red? He's going to muddy his brand with Sexy Red?
But here's the thing, though. Bruno Mars, allegedly, is in debt to Vegas.
I heard that.
So he's paying off debt.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so he's paying off debt right now. So he's probably doing whatever he can to get out of that debt. That's why he's doing like 30 shows a night.
Yeah. Y'all remember when he was playing with his nose, he got caught playing with his nose?
And that went away. That happened for like a week.
And I think that was in Vegas. Wasn't that in Vegas?
That was in Vegas.
Come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. And that got scrubbed, right?
Like, nobody talks about it.
Nobody remembers that. And that's what I'm saying. So now, allegedly, he had like a gambling problem and all this other stuff. And then now he's like in debt to, you know, all the casinos. And he's like working it off. So, hey, go do a song with Sexy Red. Go.
For sure.
Go and make some money.
That's a call from the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because casinos are down right now. So they trying to get every red penny right now.
Casinos are down 40%, by the way.
Yeah. They're down 40%. They got to revamp. They got to figure some shit out. So that's what I'm saying. So, again, the music industry tied in. The music industry is tied in with a lot of shit. This is why I think that Drake won, because they're coming down on him.
For sure. Drake definitely won that battle, yeah. And
unpopular opinion. That's what I'm saying. Look, don't care. But
anytime you have the CEO of Universal Music high-fiving at the Grammys, high-fiving Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
When do we ever see the CEO fucking high-fiving anybody?
That's what I'm saying.
And then the nigga goes and performs Super Bowl a few days later.
Yeah. So he wins. I don't know how many Grammys he won. He wins.
I think it was like 6.
5, 6, whatever, right?
Yeah.
He wins that. Okay, cool. Even though his first album should have won Grammys, which he didn't.
Amazing album.
The best album.
Amazing.
Then he wins all these Grammys. Then the next week, what happens? Super Bowl. That's the biggest stage on earth, right?
Come on, yeah.
So who's pulling the strings here?
Come on.
Right? So then you see Lucien Grange, who was in the Diddy lawsuit originally.
Talk about it, because motherfuckers don't want to talk about that.
He was in the original lawsuit with Diddy. Yeah. Then he drops out. So then what happens? It's all on Diddy now. Okay. And then now he's high-fiving Dr. Dre.
Shit's not weird to y'all?
I'm just saying. Here's the thing. I'm just saying. You have to be objective. Here's the thing. Drake, he held everybody down for 15 plus summers.
15.
And everybody hates him now? That's not weird?
That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody all of a sudden hates this man.
How?
All of a sudden.
He has hit after hit after hit.
I don't care who they say he fucked this girl, everybody fucks. Look, I know a lot of people in the industry. Everybody fucks everybody in the industry. This girl, that girl fucks this part. He fucked your girl. So that's no excuse. It's just weird. It's just
so all of a sudden he's the bad guy. Okay. Then he gets called a PDF file. This is the same thing they did to Michael Jackson.
Right.
No evidence.
No evidence.
Michael Jackson, when his case came up, his second case, two things. For one, the FBI raided his house. Even though this was a state case, they were involved. Now, the FBI has a 98% conviction rate. They raided his house, found nothing.
They lost, y'all.
That's one. Two, guess what was happening at the same time as Michael Jackson's case as a smokescreen?
What?
Wild guess. Somebody else who's actually trafficking and everything else, Epstein. He was in trial at the same time as Michael Jackson. So is that not suspicious? Because nobody even knew who Epstein was at the time.
That's fucking nuts. That was at the same time.
That was at the same time, right? So the person who was actually doing it had no coverage because the biggest star on earth was in trial. Okay? Mm-hmm. So could it be that his smoke and mirrors was pretty much pushed to Michael Jackson because, he got, hit with a, case before. Let's do it again. And mind you, the first case, they end up lying and extorted him.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with this case. And how does the FBI raid you and they find nothing? The FBI never raids anybody if they have any kind of inkling to where they're like, oh, yeah, we can get this. Oh, yeah, this is an open and shut case.
That was all performative. That was all to show people, look, he's a rapist. He's a pedo.
Yeah.
Some people, they're not going to follow the story. They just follow the headlines.
Yeah, nobody reads past the first headline. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the music industry, he was even exposing Tommy Mottola and everybody else. Of course he had, and here's the thing with Drake. His deal, that $400 million deal that with Universal. So him getting his masters and everything else sounds eerily similar to Michael Jackson and what? His Sony ATV deal.
Always the masters, anytime.
Right?
Yeah.
So he makes a deal way back in the day. He buys Sony ATV, or I believe it was ATV at the time, buys it for $80+ million. Blockbuster deal. Years later, now, he's getting hit with cases. That's odd. All of a sudden, right? Same thing. You have UMG, you have Drake, who held us down for 15+ summers, all of a sudden gets his masters and then gets hit with, oh, you're a pedo, you're this. And now we have this guy who he was a dope lyricist, but now we're going to push him to the front and now he's the star. How?
Just saying, y'all. Just saying.
Just look at the evidence, y'all. Just look at the evidence. Just look at everything. That's what I'm saying.
Let's put our thinking caps on.
Got to put them on. Because it's really weird. Same thing with Angie Stone.
Ooh.
She just passed away. Just a few months before, what was happening? She went on Instagram Live and said, what? UMG, I found out they're stealing all my royalties. They're doing X, Y, and Z. I'm owed millions of dollars. I didn't know. A few months later, she ends up dying in a car crash. And there's 10 people in the van and she's the only one that dies?
Come on, man.
That's not odd.
She is, come on.
I'm just saying, you got to look at the evidence. Even with Left Eye, she died the same way.
Yeah.
Left Eye, she was in Honduras, in a van with a bunch of people, and she's the only one that dies. And guess what? She was with Dr. Sebi. And way back then, she was talking about soursop, talking about sea moss, healing.
On record,
naturally. They're like, oh, no. Can't talk about that. No. You're out of here. So, again, is it conspiracy or coincidence?
How many coincidences, y'all? How many?
That's why they call me the coincidence specialist. I'm just saying. I just laid all the cards out. You can have your own, just have some discernment. That's all I'm saying. So it's just a little odd. And that's the thing. Like, I just think that with the music industry and everything else, it's not what it seems.
How you feel about Kanye?
He's a layered enigma, that guy. If Kanye focused, he's more influential than Elon and anybody else on earth.
Facts.
If he focused. I need Kanye on the show. Kanye, call me. Hey, Vori, we know Vori. Hey, get Kanye on the phone. We need to talk to him.
For sure.
Because he's exposing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think that when it comes to exposing everything, we need people at that stature to expose a lot of stuff.
For sure.
Did you see that where he talked about old boy from Lincoln Park?
Chester, right?
Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
He was saying, yeah, Chester, they killed him. They killed old boy. So if nobody knows, okay, the story of Lincoln Park, the lead singer, Chester Bennington, he actually was in the middle of a documentary talking about child trafficking.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh, it gets spooky when you start talking about that.
Oh, yeah. Then he gets, he suicides.
All of a sudden.
But his best friend, Chris Cornell.
Same thing.
Part of Soundgarden, lead singer for Soundgarden. That's his best friend. He dies first. And he was also working on the film too. And then Chester dies.
Wait, Chris Cornell was working on the same film?
They were all working on it.
Oh, that's
Chris
crazy.
Cornell, Chester Bennington, and a few other people. They were working on a child trafficking, exposing it. So Chris dies, not too longer, then Chester dies. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, and then Avicii. Remember Avicii?
Avicii, yeah. Of course. Love Avicii.
The DJ. One of his last videos, I believe this was his last video. It was of what?
About child trafficking.
Child trafficking. So his video depicts that kids were coming out of a shipping container. Mm-hmm. And they were getting freed and everything else. So he was exposing that. And then he gets suicided. Just lining up the coincidences.
Just saying.
So it's a little spooky when it comes to the music industry and all this other stuff.
It's a lot of weird shit that goes on in the industry. I'll say that. I've been to some of those parties and, I'll just say some people walk around the house naked after a certain hour. And
Who?
Male, female, it don't matter. They're walking around the house naked.
Oh, yeah. I don't even, you know what?
Do you want to know who?
I mean, it's probably somebody on the Diddy list.
You know what? I don't know. Actually, don't know if he's on the list. So it could be some sensitive information.
Who?
I've heard from multiple people, and I like this actor. He's a very great actor, legendary actor. But I've heard Jamie Foxx.
Well, yeah, a lot of people
does.
Well, first of all, he's a clone, so.
Yeah, because what happened to the tattoo? I don't know.
He don't have the tattoo.
He don't have that.
He had a
head
tattoo on his
anymore.
head, and it's not there no more.
Yeah.
Even in his special, he didn't even address it. He was saying that, oh yeah, I went out and I came to and I was in the hospital.
Right. The rumor was that Diddy had something to do with him being in the hospital.
Well, he joked about it, right, in the special, and he was like, oh yeah, I think he did something to my whatever, and then,
why would you joke about that?
No, he said, oh yeah, I think I heard Diddy, come to the light or something he was saying, but that's what I'm saying, he's like, I heard the devil, or it might have been Diddy, but that's what I'm saying, so it's like, there's always some truth when it's wrapped in some kind of joke. Because
that's kind of like Diddy's down right now. That's kind of like kicking dirt on his name to kind of, because in all actuality, yeah, he beat up Cassie, but nobody knows for sure what happened yet because the trial is going now.
So the trial's in a few weeks, and he's in a RICO case.
by itself.
By himself.
What man is in a RICO by himself?
That's what I'm saying. So, like, RICO's the way they work. It's a conspiracy, right? It's a ring.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the only person in a ring by yourself?
That means there's some very powerful people a part of that case.
That's what I'm saying.
That they're not even releasing the names.
That's what I'm saying. And then they're saying they're going to show the freak-off tapes in court. But when you're, if it's consensual sex, then that's not illegal.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I think that people on his list are hanging him out to dry. Yes, he is a woman beater. Yes, he did all this crazy, nefarious shit. Cool. Okay, well, not cool, but fine.
Mm-hmm.
But who else is on the list? That's what I'm saying. Lucian Grange. Again, he was in the original lawsuit. Now he's not. So who else is on that list? And I always say Diddy's list is Epstein's list.
I can see that.
I've been saying that.
I can see that.
Because people were on the... How was it that that hotel that showed Cassie getting beat up was held for that long? For 10 years.
10 years, bro.
Who held... I mean, like, come on. So you guys have all this stuff, and you guys released that footage just to hang him out to dry. So how much footage do you guys actually have to show what else is happening? That's what I'm saying. So who else is on that list? A lot of people say he might get Epstein because people were saying that, the night of Epstein, when he died. The camera went out. The guard fell asleep. So all this stuff happened, when he was, locked up. It's like, it's odd.
It's very, yeah, that's...
So, and that's what I'm saying. So, and it's layers to it because it's not as simple as people say when you're talking about who's involved and how it moves. Like, oh, they should all go down. It's not that easy because these people are in the court system too. They're in the government.
Exactly.
They're in, so figuring out a way to like sift through who's who. Like same thing with Mike Jeffries, who got hit with a trafficking charge and all that same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I linked him to Epstein and everything else in my video on Instagram. So he gets off. They're saying he's mentally unfit because he has dementia. So now he's getting off.
Wait. They're letting him off because all of a sudden, did he have, they said anything about dementia before, or now all of a sudden he has dementia? Because I never heard that.
Exactly. So where did it come from? So you're saying you have dementia and now you're unfit for trial.
Where's the test? Where's the test? And you can fake the test.
Who's taking the test?
Yeah, exactly. You can fucking get a real dementia patient and be like, this is him. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So like,
these motherfuckers are sick, man.
So
they're fucking sick,
and that's the thing. And I'll break down Mike Jeffries real quick. So Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, he gets indicted on trafficking charges and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that same company, Abercrombie and Fitch and everything else, is linked to L Brands. Now, L Brands was owned by Lex Wexler. Lex Wexler, okay? His money manager and financier to, leaving his estate to was none other than Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on, man.
Okay? And they brought Mike Jeffries in to be the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch to, help out the brand. And when he got there, they were making billions, right? Because it was kind of a struggling brand. And then they inserted him. Boom. He goes crazy with it. But I always say, what was the real business? How are you guys making so much money? Now that Mike Jeffries came into play, you're making all these billions of dollars. And you have all these young men and women working at Abercrombie and Fitch, in which there was a criteria saying there was a hot or not process to work there. They looked at you and you're like, okay, you need to have a six-pack, you need to be this tall, you need to look like this. There was literally a hot or not process. And
so who's determining who's hot and who's not? That's odd.
Jeffries, his boyfriend,
right?
All these people. So what was the real business was my question. I'm like, you come into play and you're connected to Epstein and everybody else. How are you making all this money? Right? So, yeah, we get it. Yeah, you're selling clothes, but you jump from like being in debt to a multi-billion-dollar corporation in a few years.
Crazy.
And you have all these young men and women, mostly men.
Yeah.
Because Mike Jeffries was gay, and you know that was his playground. So him and his boyfriend was trafficking a lot of the employees.
Damn, man.
So, and trafficking being, you know, a multi-billion-dollar industry. Come on now.
Sick motherfuckers,
right?
Man.
So that's what I'm saying. So now he has dementia, and now he's unfit for trial. How convenient.
How fucking convenient.
And I made the correlation too. Here's the thing. As soon as Diddy got indicted, what happened? Mike Jeffrey gets indicted. The mayor of New York gets indicted. All these people start going down.
Mm-hmm. So, I got a story about the mayor of New York too.
Okay.
I got a story about that. A personal story too.
Run it.
Okay. I'll make it brief, but so I'll say an ex-girlfriend of mine that I used to date, she was on tour with the mayor's son in Albania. And, you know, tour went good. You know, they were there for a week doing shows all around Albania. And you guys could all Google all of this shit I'm about to tell you to kind of give you a timeline. So the mayor of New York's son, when they go back to New York, because that was like their stop, he's like, hey, I didn't get your layover back to LA, so I'm just going to get you a room. She's like, okay, I want to go home, but okay. She goes, they get to the hotel room. He has one key. She's like, okay, is this the key to my room?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, do you mind if I come in the room? She's like, because he lives in New York. The son lives in New York. He's like, do you mind if I come in the room and chill? And, you know, she's like, okay. But like, I'm sleepy. You're going to have to leave soon. I want to go to sleep. This dude ends up staying in the room, telling her he's not leaving, and just telling her, look, just come to bed. And get this, the place where they were at was a hostel.
Why are they in a hostel?
Exactly. It was like a weird hostel in Queens.
And that's the thing, a lot of hostels are known for like trafficking and everything else.
Right.
People end up missing.
Right. So she's calling me on FaceTime in the bathroom crying, and this dude doesn't want to leave. He's literally like, I don't know why he's on the phone with somebody. I don't know why she's tripping, and, you know, it's not even that serious. We've been hanging out. We've been cool this whole time. And she's like, yo, go, leave. Like, he was there, like he didn't want to leave.
That's weird.
And she kept me on the phone, and she's crying on the floor. This is the mayor's son. Hand to God.
It all makes
sense. Hand to
sense.
God. And hand to God.
It all makes sense now.
And so then he finally ends up just leaving because he hears a man on the phone. I'm like, bro, I got people, bro. I don't care whose son you are. I got people too. So if you wanted to really go there, it can go there. He heard me through the door saying that on the phone.
Right.
And then we just hear the door close and he leaves.
What?
Swear.
Damn. That's crazy. It all makes sense now.
It makes sense.
Because, I mean, what behavior are you going to emulate? Right? Your mother, your father, in, you know, that setting to where you're growing up.
Yes.
So, and I'm not throwing any allegations towards, you know, Eric.
I'm just saying this is what happened.
Right.
This is what happened.
No, this is, yeah, exactly. So
kind of weird you don't want to leave a hotel room when a girl tells you to leave.
Right.
It's weird.
So, okay. Being that they're in a hostel that's weird in itself, because if you're on tour and You're moving around. You're supposed to be in some pretty nice places. Like,
yeah, you're the mayor's son too. Like,
right.
Why are you in a hostel? And she was like, it was shady. It was all kind of weird characters in there and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, again, going back to the trafficking thing, people got to really be careful because even with what's happening right now with Indeed, did you hear about what happened with Indeed? Like how people are going on interviews missing?
Nah, what happened?
So what's happening right now, and it's all over, social media, TikTok and everything. There's listings on Indeed saying, hey, we're hiring for a receptionist job in, various areas, right? Mm-hmm. And this is happening mainly in Atlanta and I think in Florida.
Okay.
So Indeed's making these posts, or not Indeed, but people are posting on Indeed. And what's happening is that these jobs that they're going to are in warehouses.
The fuck?
And they're at night.
Okay.
So they say, hey, we're looking for a receptionist. Come check out the business because it's a manufacturing, whatever. Mm-hmm. Come check it out at night. There's been over a dozen people missing now due to these postings because they'll text you and you'll be applying to so many different places. You don't know if you applied what to what. They're like, oh, wait, oh, okay. Hey, come do an interview. Mm-hmm. So now people are missing in Florida and in Atlanta.
How long has this been going on for?
I don't know. It's just recently. It's been reported now. I don't know how long it's been going, but there's people reportedly missing now that are from these job postings. So now we got to watch for fake postings and people, because that's the biggest business on earth, the movement of people. People
preying on people that need it too. Like people are looking for jobs.
That's crazy. That's crazy, right? So like people are disappearing and they're thinking it's a job, they're pulling up and they're
disappearing.
Gone. So that's a little eerie. And I think that when it comes to the CIA, when it comes to government officials and everything else, they're tied into this shit.
For sure.
Not all of them, but a lot of them are in this stuff because that's how they fund a lot of things. Trafficking, drugs, I mean, you name it.
It's big business.
It's big business. So this is why I think that Trump now is firing all these, government officials, IRS, like every department he's getting rid of because we're too overgoverned. So what's happening is he doesn't know who's corrupt, who's not. Eliminate most of them. Mm-hmm. Like we got to do a clear audit on all this.
Did you hear about that lady that she had stole like $50 million from, I forgot what the fuck it was. Remember she stole like
who was it from in the Trump administration?
No, it wasn't in the Trump administration. It was I can't fucking think of her name right now. But she was in, what part of the government was it?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Where she stole like, and then it was like a somebody that substituted in for her, and then they were like, she's supposed to have 6 bank accounts or something like that.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. And it was
7 bank accounts.
Yeah, I just saw that. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so you're talking about this lady who worked for the state of Illinois.
Yes, her.
Yeah, so she worked for the Treasury Department in the state of Illinois, and she ran this scheme to where she was stealing from the state because the state has budgets, right?
Right.
So, and nobody's overseeing her because she's the one that oversees the budgets.
Right.
So what happened is that she started, siphoning off a little here, siphoning off a little there. And she was like, oh, nobody's watching? Oh, okay, cool. And she keeps doing it, right? So here's how she did it. The state has 6 bank accounts. She created a new bank account, a 7th bank account that said, I think it was something to the effect of sewer, drainage, whatever department. Something that sounds a part of the
something that sounds boring.
Something that sounds official. Mm-hmm. It had something to do with the sewer lines, right?
Okay.
Cool. So she makes that. So she siphons off into that account. And she does it for over 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. She's siphoning off, right? So what is she doing? She starts buying horses and RVs. She bought a $2 million RV.
Oh, she was balling.
She bought a house,
Splurging.
another house. She bought over 300 horses because she was like, equestrian, like, person that did horse races and, the horse shows and all that.
Rockstar shit.
Yeah. Furs, minks, and all that stuff. She was going crazy. So
What the fuck?
she bought 300 horses though over the course of over the course of 20 years, right? And she siphoned off, I believe it was $40 million. Okay, $40 million.
So nobody's noticed the Lamborghinis and the fur coats and the fucking all the fly shit, the private jets she was flying.
Here's how she got caught. What happened was that she had to go out of town for a horse show, right? So she had a substitute in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happened was this substitute was, doing her regular thing, and, something came across her desk. It was like an error. So she calls the bank and says, hey, I need some records. Something's wrong. And, I have to work these numbers. So like, oh, okay, cool. What records do you need? I don't know. Just send all of them. So mind you, there's 6 bank accounts.
Uh-oh.
Okay? They send over 7.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? So they send over 7. She was like, wait a minute. We don't have 7. We have 6.
Yeah.
So she looks into that account. It's like, we don't have a sewer fund. So then she starts doing the paper trail. Right?
Oh, man.
And then they link it all back to old girl. And what happened was they started investigating. 6 months later, boom, she gets hemmed up. Turns out she steals $40 million. And she has 300 horses.
God
she has all this stuff.
Sheesh.
And she gets busted and does, I believe it was like 30 years in jail or something like that.
Imagine how many other people have been doing this in our government.
Right. So that's what I mean when it comes to
20 years.
When it comes to corruption and everything else. Yeah, she was doing it over 20 years.
Imagine.
Yeah.
There's people walking around right now. Right now could be your neighbor. Because I see a lot of people in the streets. I'm like, how the fuck you got 3 Lamborghinis?
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
Like, bro, what are you doing? You ask them what they're doing, and they say some bullshit. It's like, bro, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I sell garage doors.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, what do you got to be the fucking Michael Jordan of garage doors, bro.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, like, are you really, or are you doing something else? Like,
yeah.
So people were probably asking questions like what she was doing. But when it came to, nobody really knew. They're like, oh, maybe she's just, has some side hustles or something. I don't know.
Man, offer up and let go, and Facebook Marketplace ain't gonna do that.
Going crazy. So, but yeah, so that happened, and yeah, so I think that when it comes to the government and everything else, and at the state level, the federal level, like there's a lot of corruption. So you saw something that you were showing me earlier, and I want your take on this more. It was something about a lady who had HIV, and she's going viral right now, and she's talking about she doesn't have to tell people.
She's saying that she doesn't have to tell people. She's saying she's HIV positive, and she doesn't have to tell people, or she shouldn't have to tell people that she's HIV positive. So this is a classic case of the fine shit y'all always talking about, but it's really just a piece of shit because what the fuck? Like,
there's no accountability there.
Zero.
And she said in the video something like to the effect of, your health is your responsibility. Wait a minute. You're telling me.
Put her in jail. Put that bitch in jail. That's a bitch. And I don't like to call everyone a bitch. That's a bitch. A low down dirty bitch. But go ahead.
Jail.
Prison.
Man, so so she's saying your health is your responsibility.
Yeah.
How is it my responsibility for you to tell me that you have HIV when I don't know?
She's saying sick. We got sick people out here, man.
If we're having relations, we're being intimate, and we're kissing and everything else, you don't have to tell me? That's crazy work.
It's crazy.
So I don't know if she's doing this just to go viral.
That's what I was thinking. Because a lot of people are doing a lot of shit just to go viral now, And I think if that's not true,
Yeah, but who wants to be known for the lady who has fake HIV?
Man, I'm telling you.
She's saying she has HIV, so she's going on record saying this.
I'm telling you, and I'm going to say this on record. Clout is a sickness. We're in a sick era right now to where people will do anything. Somebody can be dying on the street, and they're going to just fucking record and not help and just post it. Like, clout is a sickness.
Yeah.
That has to be eradicated. We have to, like, yo, motherfuckers, like, they got to start being held accountable for this shit.
So do you think she's actually being truthful? And do you think that she's really saying, hey, your health is your responsibility. I don't have to tell you.
I don't know what that bitch saying, but that bitch need to go to jail. Either way, whether she got HIV or not, that'll be a bitch with HIV in jail. So and that's what needs what needs to happen.
So what if she's actually doing this though? Like what if she's like spreading it and saying like, oh, you assume I don't have it, so it's your fault. That's fucked up.
She needs prison.
Yeah.
Prison.
Yeah, that's prison. That's
prison. And every time we see her outside, we need to be throwing tomatoes at her. It needs to be like that episode of Black Mirror. Remember that episode where she didn't remember that she fucking killed some kid?
Right, yeah.
And then like, that's what we need to put that bitch through. Yeah. We need to put her in that Black Mirror shit to where she just keeps waking up. Right. And we just throwing tomatoes at her ass at the end of the episode, every time, bitch.
That's the thing, it's like...
Cause that's sick, man.
Yeah, cause it gotta stop, man.
Shit is corny. Shit has to stop. That shit is corny. It's beyond corny, actually. That shit is sick.
Yeah, she said your health is your responsibility. That's crazy work. That's crazy. So, but I feel like when people are doing that, it's kind of like a card that they have to play when it's like nothing else to play. You know? Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, I got HIV. Oh, it's the end of the world. Doesn't matter. Let me just start saying shit and just... I mean, because people... I mean, isn't that illegal, though?
That's what I said. I mean, that's kind of like... I mean, it's not a death sentence, but, I mean, low-key.
I thought that was illegal to where you have to, like... Because you can die from that, obviously. Like...
Yeah.
That is something... I have to fact-check that. I'm pretty sure in some states, if not all, you got to disclose some shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
it should.
I mean, again, she could be just chasing it for clout. Don't know.
Man, either way.
Yeah, tomatoes.
Either way, tomatoes.
That's a fact.
Tomatoes.
That's a fact. I want to show you a picture real quick, too. Check this out. So this picture right here, what does that look like?
The Bitcoin logo.
So we'll throw that on the screen. But this logo right here was from a game called Space Quest. Okay? Came out in 1991. Mm-hmm. Now, that was going viral because people were saying like, oh, that coin in the game looks like a Bitcoin, exactly like it, right? Here's where it gets spooky. So that game came out in 1991.
Okay.
On the development team, Hal Finney himself was on the team.
Explain who Hal Finney is.
Who is Hal Finney? Hal Finney is the first person to receive the Bitcoin, a Bitcoin transaction on the blockchain ledger. The very first person.
Come on.
So how is it that he's on that development team with that logo in 1991? Then years later, in 2009, Bitcoin arrives with the same logo. Right? And you're telling me that this person who worked on this game, created that years later, actually was a part of history of Bitcoin and received the first block from Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, people are trying to figure out who's Satoshi Nakamoto. Could it be him? Because he's been in, cryptography and everything else for a long time. Obviously, he did video games and whatnot. I think, and that's the thing. Did you know Hal Finney is actually, like, he died from ALS in 2014.
Okay.
But you know where he is now?
No, where is he?
He's in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Love Scottsdale.
And he's frozen.
Hold on.
He's frozen right now. He's frozen.
Nah.
In cryogenic stasis or cryogenic form.
Some Futurama shit.
Yeah. Futurama.
Bro.
So he's frozen right now until we find some advanced technology later on. So if he is Satoshi Nakamoto, so Satoshi Nakamoto has 1.1 million Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in the future, if Bitcoin hits $1 million, that makes him the first trillionaire on Earth.
All he got to do is...
If that's Hal Finney. We don't know if it's him, but he has to know Satoshi, or it could be him. Because even they did research. When he received that first transaction on the Bitcoin ledger, they mapped his IP address to Satoshi Nakamoto's address. He was only a couple of miles from that address. So you live down the street from Satoshi?
Nah, that was his other crib. He was just,
right?
He just walked up the street to the crib.
That's what I'm saying. This is in 2014. He got frozen in 2014. Like, what access to technology? Like, I know there's companies out there doing that, but like, no regular person just says, "Hey, when I die, freeze me." It's expensive. That's storage.
I think he's from the future.
So a lot of people say that too, that Bitcoin is actually a gift from the future from us too. That's a whole theory too.
Goddamn.
So they're saying that's a theory to where future us has lended it to us, because they're saying it could be like, aliens gave it to us, but what if the aliens are us from the future?
Yeah. I've thought about
It's like Interstellar. In that movie, great movie, Interstellar, where he gets caught in the Tesseract, right? Remember that part where he's like seeing time and he's jumping from time to time. He's watching himself and his daughter and everything else. Now, the Tesseract was built by aliens, but really the aliens was us from the future giving ourselves a piece of technology to save Earth. Now, what does that sound like? Sounds like cryptocurrency. Sounds like something that was given to us by somebody who can save the system, right? Because in this corrupt system with the monetary system and everything else, we're going into a new system. This is why Trump is pushing DeFi. He's pushing all these new ideas and everything else to break the Fed, to break the IRS, to break us out of this slave system. So could it be that comes from the future to save us, from, this monetary destruction slave system?
Very possible.
So I found that pretty interesting. But yeah, that was crazy though. That image was like, what are the chances it has a Bitcoin logo? And the guy who received the first transaction worked on the game?
Impossible, yo.
Crazy.
Impossible.
But also I think Satoshi Nakamoto could also be from the government. I think maybe, well, here's the thing too. David Schwartz, who actually patented the first DLT, distributed ledger technology. He patented that in 1988, and he worked for the NSA. He was contracted by the government. So you mean the technology that we use today for blockchain, and that was patented in 1988, and a guy who worked for the NSA? So I think that there's some government involvement with Bitcoin too. Not saying it's bad.
I think Bitcoin is the world currency created by the NWO, and it's just the beginning, man.
That's the thing though. People always say, oh yeah, it's the mark of the beast and everything else. But here's the thing about crypto. And I've been in crypto a long time. Are we not in a slave system right now with the monetary system? Think about it. What's on the back of your dollar? There's an eye on top of a pyramid. That's not suspicious to anybody? And it says, e pluribus unum, which says, from one comes many.
Sounds like a cult.
That sounds like a cult. So are we not in the mark of the beast system right now?
We've been in the mark of the beast.
So here's the thing, though.
America is.
I think cryptocurrency is the exact opposite. I think it's to free us. Now, if it's from the government, maybe it was a part of the government, if there is such a thing, that is good and trying to help us. Or it's from us from the future trying to save ourselves. Okay. But when it comes to cryptocurrency, it's decentralized. You become your own bank. You don't have to adhere to the system we're in now. Completely circumvents the Fed, circumvents, IRS and everything else. Trump just passed a bill, the first crypto bill, to where the IRS was going after DeFi platforms and everything else, to where, because he has a DeFi platform. So of course he's going to sign into law breaking that chain to where going after DeFi platforms and everything else. He just signed that first crypto bill. That's the first one.
Shout out to Trump.
Shout out, yeah. Big Trump. Big T ain't playing.
Come on, man. He not playing, man. He's smacking nigga.
So that's what I'm saying, though. So we've already been in this slave system. Let me ask you this. Does it make sense to go to college, get in debt, get out of college, go get a job with that degree, and then pay that debt off that you just got from college? It's a vicious cycle.
Just a little bunch of fucking hamsters in the wheel. That's all we're fucking doing.
How does that make sense? So you get in debt to go get a job to pay for that debt?
Yeah, that shit's crazy, bro.
Who created this? Oh, let me tell you. Rockefeller, funded all the school systems, college and everything else. So.
And who'd they get the idea from?
They got it from Europe.
Yeah, bingo.
And what was happening in war-torn Europe? Oh, they wanted soldiers. So they created the school system to create what? Soldiers, and indoctrinate them. So whenever there's a war going on, they wouldn't ask questions.
That's why schools look like prisons, y'all.
That's why schools look like prisons. You get told when to eat. You get told when to go to the bathroom. When to do this, when to do that, when to go outside. I always make the parallels. Like when they tell you to go to lunch, that's like going to the yard.
Yeah.
When they tell you, go see the principal, that's the warden. And who's the teachers? Oh, the COs.
Yeah. And the PE, that's we getting our yard workouts going.
Right.
We in that yard getting cracking.
That's the same thing. So that's what I'm saying. So when it comes to the school system and the prison system, they parallel. They even have the same food system. Like the same food they get in prison is the same food they get in schools.
For sure.
This is a fact. Everybody go look it up.
Hey, them coffee cakes go crazy. I don't give a fuck what nobody say.
So you mean the coffee cakes that we have in school? Dudes is getting stabbed with the same coffee cakes in prison?
I ain't gonna lie. Some schools, they was getting stabbed up, too. At the schools.
That's crazy. Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So that's what I'm saying. So, like, when it comes to that, like, we got to unlearn a lot of things and relearn a lot of things. So this is why I say school's a scam, college is a scam. All that shit is a scam. Like, we've been duped. Why do we have the same books? Like, when I was in school, in high school and in middle school, why did we have books from 1972?
Man.
You can look, you can open the book. Remember the book? You open it up and you see all the people who signed in. Like, oh, sign your name and the year.
Yeah, I see the 70s.
This motherfucker's from 1972.
For sure.
It's 2000 and something, like...
Cornelius. You see old-ass names like Cornelius in that motherfucker.
Yeah, Agnes, right? Like, this is crazy. So that's what I'm saying.
Nadine
like,
and shit from the back in the day.
This is why I'm glad Trump got rid of, the Department of Education.
Yeah, we need a facelift.
Yeah. And people are like, well, is that good? Cutting the funding, like, we're going to... So how come that since its inception, reading and illiteracy has gone up? Like reading, like people, like kids at grade level, like they in grade school, they can't read at their grade level. 65% can't read at their grade level. 65%. That means more than half is illiterate since its inception. So it works. And that's the thing. Like only 10% is actually goes to the schools. So the rest goes to what? Employees and a bunch of frivolous shit. So they really don't get funding. So people don't do the research and figure out like, well, maybe these are just smoke screens in the indoctrination camp. So because why do we need something that, all this funding goes to, but it doesn't get trickled down? Teacher cuts, budget cuts, but their budget is billions of dollars. Where's the money?
Teachers ain't making shit.
No. And they're stressed out. They got packed classes.
And teachers nowadays are fucking the students. What's going on?
Yeah, that's why they tearing up the students right now.
They tearing their ass
well,
up.
The students is tearing them up.
Man, they gang banging motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like,
this shit's getting, man.
It's an overwhelming amount of teachers that I've seen in the last probably like 10 years to where they're sleeping with the students.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that back in my day.
Man, first of all, there was about maybe 1 or 2 teachers that we even wanted to hit. But now these teachers look like OnlyFans models. These motherfuckers got on fucking, they dressing like the hoes on OnlyFans.
Dude, okay, hold up. There was a teacher that just got caught. She said she wanted to get gangbanged by students, all her students, with scream mask on.
That shit sound like a ritual, bro.
She was like, yeah, wear a scream mask and y'all can all...
tear that ass up.
Yeah. I'm like, what is going on?
She was a freak, but
yeah,
also a pedophile.
That's a pedo.
Pedo.
So she got locked up, and for her freaky crimes, and I don't know, like that was crazy.
She said, look, Diddy can do it, I can do it too.
Hey, you're gonna be locked up with Diddy too. Like that's what I'm saying. Like where do we go wrong? Like how far? Like scream mask?
Scream mask, bro.
Like go to the Halloween store, go to Party City or
y'all
whatever.
Go ahead and catch the bus.
Come to the crib. Everybody put on their mask and let's get busy.
Just get it going.
Like why?
Let's get it going.
Why the scream mask though?
Man, that's why I said that's some like ritual shit going on, man.
Yeah,
that's shit weird. Nah, that or she just got a new subscription to Bang Bros.
Yeah, that's spooky.
Or Pornhub. So she she just wanted to, she's a sick bastard.
That's spooky. But yeah, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Okay, yep. Y'all can find me at Devon True, Devon True, True, like true or false.
Okay.
And that's on Instagram. On X, it's Devon True 22. On TikTok, it's at Devon True.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah. So until next time, it's been Maverick Approach. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, which is The Maverick Approach. Also on Instagram, Maverick Approach. And then TikTok as well, Mav Approach, MAVE Approach. I'll see y'all next time.
Also, YouTube, at Devon True. YouTube /Devon True. Or just search Devon True. You'll see me on there. You'll see some music stuff and shit on there. But, yep.
There you go. Nothing is what it seems. Peace.